We head over to our Kraken here, and I've talked about it. I've tried to stay positive. They've showed positive signs, but it hasn't resulted in enough wins for Seattle early into the season. And we're getting into that period of time where it's not too early anymore. The Kraken continued a little bit of a road trip here. We talked about it. They had that homestand that had a nice win over the Hurricanes, who the team would see on this road trip in a rematch, but they weren't able to continue that with the loss to the Rangers. Kicking off this road trip, they do get a nice 5-4 win in overtime. Seattle builds a nice 3-1 lead going into the third period. Then they give up 3 straight power play goals. The Kraken have to get a late tying goal in the dying minutes of the third period before Jordan Eberle wins it in overtime. We have 2 players of the game from this one. First, for Jaden Schwartz. Schwartzy, 2 goals, 2 points, 5 shots, and 1 plus-minus. Our second player of the game, Jordan Eberle, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, a 2 plus-minus, and 5 shots, including the overtime game winner in this one. So nice to start the road trip off with a win. Hopefully you build some momentum going into the rest of the road trip. Kind of doing so. They rematched that Carolina team that they beat on their first homestand of the year, 7-4, their first win. So that was nice to see, but Seattle is unable to get both points here. They lose in overtime 2-3 to Carolina. Seattle, a trend here. They get a 2-goal lead and they blow it. Carolina scores 3 goals unanswered, including the overtime game winner with 10 seconds left. Unfortunate here to waste a strong opportunity, a strong start, and a strong performance from Joey Daccord in net. 42 saves and a .933 save percentage for our player of the game, Joey Daccord there. So you get 3 points out of a possible 4, continuing that road trip. You think, all right, that's pretty solid. I like that. Hopefully they can keep that going into Florida. Seattle loses in regulation 2-3 to the Panthers. All of these games that Seattle has been playing to begin the season, arguably, have been against good teams, either playoff teams last year or teams that could be in the dance this upcoming season. Florida, coming off of a Stanley Cup appearance last season, kept a good amount of their players unable to make it result in a complete effort, a complete victory. Seattle scores the first 2 goals of the game. Jared McCann brings the puck right down into the crease and is able to do some front hand, backhand to beat Sergei Bobrovsky in net. Goal 2 of this one, Eli Tolvanen, a tip in as he goes to the net after a missed shot of his own, makes his presence felt, was left wide open net front. Nice tip, 5-hole to beat Bobrovsky. And then the Kraken give up 3 unanswered and lose this one. Our player of the game, defenseman Will Borgen. Borgen, 2 assists, 2 points, a 1 plus-minus, 3 hits, and 2 shots on the night. Borgen had an excellent game in terms of hockey stat cards. Borgen was far and away Seattle's best player in this one. Patterns. Trend's the better word I like to use here. Seattle is getting these 2-goal leads. They start hot. They've had good first periods for almost every game that they've played this year. They don't always result in goals per se, but they've started off the game hot. It's around that mid part of the second period where things start to go down for Seattle. There's been a few games where that's happened. The Nashville loss, the St. Louis loss, the Rangers loss, where that midpoint is where something flips and the momentum completely changes. That was the case in Carolina. That was the case in Florida. Unfortunately, that third goal was on a bad bounce. Joey Daccord anticipated playing a puck off the boards coming down from up. It had a weird bounce off the stanchion, and it bounced right in front of the net where he was originally, but had gone to play the puck. So the net was left wide open. Nick Cousins of Florida comes in and taps it in easier than anything. So it's tough. The Kraken are putting on good performances in different aspects of their game. The goaltending has been solid from both Philip Grubauer and Joey Daccord. The penalty kill to begin the year has been solid since the Detroit game where they had those 3 straight power play goals against. It's kind of faltered a little bit. They've been better discipline-wise, but have still been allowing those power play goals. Power play on its own for Seattle has kind of been increasing, but Still not getting to the net enough. They did it to get their first 2 goals against Florida, but they have to continue to do that throughout the course of the game. Like to be a little bit more physical, but that isn't necessarily Seattle's identity. So it's got to continue. Changes have to be made. Adjustments have to be made. Lines are flipping and changing, which is one start of things. But you've got to make that conscious effort to get to the net, whether that's tipping pucks out in front, causing traffic. It all helps. So they got to continue to do that as they finish out this road trip. Seattle with a 2-5-2 record. That's 2 wins, 5 losses, and 2 overtime losses. Seattle sits at 5th in the Pacific Division with 6 points on the season so far. They close out their road trip tonight, October 30th, at the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that they have never beaten in their almost quarter start to their franchise as in the NHL. The 4 p.m. puck drop. Tampa Bay, again, have never beaten the Lightning before. Tonight's the night to do it. As I've said at the top of the segment here, you're getting out of time for it to be too early in the season. After that, Seattle will return home and kick off a mini homestand starting November 2nd versus the Nashville Predators, a Predators team that you lost to in a tight one earlier this season. That puck drop is at 7 o'clock. And then you'll play a Pacific Division team that's also kind of limped out of the gate, the Calgary Flames, a November 4th puck drop against Calgary at 7 o'clock as well. As I've said, and I'll close it out, the Kraken segment on that note, Seattle has been doing things well, but they haven't been able to put it together for a 60-minute performance.